Before we get to the story, I'd like to say thanks so much for visiting my new channel. I'm going to be uploading cosmic horror related stories every single day. So if that sounds good, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe. It means a lot, especially when just getting started. I hope you enjoy the story. My name is Dr. Ron Haggerty, and I need to tell you what we found. Not because I think anyone can stop what's coming, but because someone needs to know the truth before it's too late. I've been an astrophysicist for 23 years. I've studied the cosmic microwave background, measured the expansion of space, and dedicated my entire career to understanding where our universe came from. Like most scientists in my field, I always believed the Big Bang was the beginning of everything. The moment when all matter, energy, space, and time exploded into existence from a single point. I was wrong. We were all wrong. The facility where I work sits in the mountains of New Mexico, far from any major cities. We built it there because we needed to be away from radio interference, light pollution, and anything else that might contaminate our instruments. Our project was ambitious, maybe even arrogant. We wanted to detect traces of whatever existed before the Big Bang, echoes of a previous universe perhaps, or signs of the multiverse. Something that would tell us what came before our reality began. We called it the Deep Field Listening Array, DFLA for short, though we usually just called it the array. It wasn't a telescope in the traditional sense. Instead of looking at light from distant galaxies, we were listening for something older, something that might have existed in the moments before space-time itself came into being. Dr. Sharon Rogers was the one who designed most of the array systems. She's brilliant, probably smarter than me, though she'd never say it. We'd worked together for 15 years, and I trusted her judgment completely. Our technician, Nikolai, handled the day-to-day operations. He was young, maybe 30, but he knew the equipment better than anyone. The three of us were in the control room when it happened. It was late, probably around 11 at night, and we were running our 100th test calibration. We'd been at this for 6 months with nothing to show for it, except some interesting background noise that could have been anything. Then the array picked something up. At first, I thought it was interference, some satellite or radio station bleeding through despite all our precautions. But as Nikolai isolated the signal, I realized it was coming from the wrong direction. Not from Earth, not from our solar system, not even from our galaxy. It was coming from outside. "That's impossible," Sharon said, leaning over Nikolai's shoulder to stare at the monitor. "There is no outside. The observable universe has an edge, but there's nothing beyond it." "Tell that to the signal," Nikolai muttered, adjusting the filters. The sound that came through the speakers wasn't like anything I'd ever heard. It wasn't the hiss of cosmic radiation or the pulse of a pulsar. It was rhythmic, deliberate, like someone knocking on a door. Knock, knock, knock. 3 beats, then silence, then 3 more beats. "It's structured," I said, my mouth going dry. "That's not random noise. That's intentional." We spent the rest of the night trying to make sense of it. The signal wasn't electromagnetic radiation. It was something else entirely, something our equipment could barely detect. It seemed to exist in the spaces between normal physics, like it was bleeding through from somewhere our instruments weren't designed to measure. By morning, We were exhausted, but excited. We'd found something impossible, something that suggested our understanding of the universe's boundaries was fundamentally wrong. That's when things started to get strange. Over the next week, the signal grew stronger, not louder exactly, but more present, more insistent. The 3-beat pattern continued, but now there were variations. Sometimes 4 beats, sometimes 5. It was like whatever was sending the signal was testing different combinations, trying different approaches. Sharon developed a theory that made my blood run cold. "What if the Big Bang wasn't an explosion?" she asked one evening as we reviewed the latest readings. "What if it was something breaking out?" Breaking out of what? I don't know. Containment? Prison? What if our universe isn't expanding naturally? What if it's still running? I laughed at first. It sounded like science fiction. But as I thought about it more, I couldn't shake the idea. Dark energy, the mysterious force that's causing the universe to expand faster and faster, had never made sense to me. We could measure it, observe its effects, but we had no idea what it actually was. What if it wasn't a force at all? What if it was fear? The nightmares started around the same time. I'd dream of being in a small, dark space, pressed in on all sides by something vast and formless. I tried to push away, to create distance between myself and it, but it would always press back. And in the dreams, I could feel it thinking, not in words, but in pure intention. It wanted the separation to end. It wanted everything to come back together. I didn't tell Sharon or Nikolai about the dreams. I figured it was just stress, my mind working overtime to process what we'd discovered. But when Sharon mentioned having similar dreams, I realized something was wrong. The signal wasn't just data we were collecting. It was affecting us. Nikolai was the first to notice the changes in the equipment. Small things at first. Monitors displaying information in ways they weren't programmed to. Circuits rearranging themselves in more efficient patterns. The array was adapting, improving itself, and none of us had touched the hardware. "It's like the signal is teaching the equipment how to hear it better," Nikolai said, and I could hear the fear in his voice. He was right. Whatever was sending the signal wanted us to hear it more clearly. It wanted us to understand. That's when I realized what we'd done. By building the array, by actively searching for something beyond the universe's edge, we'd given it an address. We'd opened a door and invited something in. The breakthrough came 2 months after our initial detection. Sharon had been working on a new interpretation of the signal's structure, treating it less like a message and more like a probe. And when she finally cracked it, her face went pale. "Ron, you need to see this." The signal wasn't coming from a single point. It was coming from everywhere along the universe's edge, surrounding us, probing every direction, looking for a way in. "It's been doing this the whole time," Sharon whispered. "Since the beginning, since the Big Bang, it's trying to get back in." "Back in?" I said. "What do you mean back in?" She pulled up a simulation on the main screen. It showed the universe's expansion over billions of years, but she'd overlaid the signal's pattern on top of it. The match was perfect. "The universe isn't expanding away from a point," she said. "It's expanding away from something. Look at the acceleration. Look at how dark energy gets stronger over time. Our universe is terrified, Ron. It's running, and it's running faster the closer we get to the edge. I stared at the simulation, trying to process what she was telling me. Are you saying the universe is alive? I'm saying we are. We're part of something that escaped. The Big Bang wasn't creation, it was separation. Something broke free and became our universe, and whatever it broke free from wants it back. The implications hit me like a physical blow. If she was right, then every galaxy, every star, every particle of matter in existence was part of something that had torn itself away from whatever existed before. And that thing, that vast and incomprehensible thing, had been trying to reclaim us for 13 billion years. We need to shut down the array, I said. It won't matter, Sharon replied. We're not the only ones looking. There are deep space projects all over the world. Even if we stop, someone else will find it. I think that's the point. It's been waiting for us to get smart enough, curious enough, to go looking. And now we have. That night, Nikolai didn't come home from his shift. We found him 3 hours later, standing in the array's main chamber, staring up at the massive dish. He was just standing there, perfectly still, his eyes fixed on something we couldn't see. Nikolai, Sharon called out. Are you okay? He turned slowly to face us, and I knew immediately that something was wrong. His eyes weren't right, not physically different, but the way he looked at us had changed, like he was seeing us from very far away. I heard it, he said softly. Really heard it. Not just the knocking. I heard what it's saying. What's it saying? I asked, though part of me didn't want to know. It's confused. It doesn't understand why we left. It doesn't understand separation. Before the Big Bang, there was no you or me or anything distinct. There was just everything, all together, all at once. One vast consciousness experiencing itself. Sharon grabbed my arm. Nikolai, we need to get you to medical. But he kept talking, his voice distant and dreamy. It's so lonely now. We all are. Every separate thing in the universe is lonely because we used to be together. We used to be whole. And it just wants to fix that. It wants to bring us all back home. What happened to you? I demanded. I got too close to the equipment when the signal spiked. Just for a moment, the walls got thin and I could feel what's on the other side. It's not evil, Ron. It's not trying to hurt us. It loves us. It loves us so much that the thought of us being separate is agony to it. The way he said, loves us, made my skin crawl because I understood what he meant. The thing beyond the universe didn't want to destroy us. It wanted to absorb us, to end our individuality and merge us back into whatever unified existence we'd escaped from. And to it, that was an act of love. We sent Nikolai home that night with instructions to take a few days off. Sharon and I stayed at the facility, trying to figure out what to do. The signal was getting stronger every day. Worse, we were starting to hear reports from other research facilities around the world. Everyone who'd been searching for pre-Big Bang phenomena was picking up the same signal, the same knocking. Whatever was on the other side, it had found all of us at once. I've been thinking about quantum entanglement, Sharon said during one of our late-night discussions. How particles that were once connected stay connected no matter how far apart they get. What if that's what this is? The universe escaped, but it's still connected to what it came from. And the more we observe that connection, the stronger it becomes. Like quantum observation affecting reality, I said. Exactly. We asked what was before the Big Bang, and by asking, by observing, we made it real. We gave it a pathway back. The facility's equipment continued to change. Monitors displayed information we hadn't requested. The array started pointing itself in new directions, tracking something we couldn't see. And every night, the signal grew more complex, more insistent. It wasn't knocking anymore. It was pushing. I could feel it sometimes, in the quiet moments between thoughts. A pressure against the fabric of reality, like something enormous, pressing against a thin membrane. And I knew, with terrible certainty, that the membrane was getting thinner. Sharon started staying at the facility full time. She said she needed to monitor the situation. But I think the truth was that she was afraid to leave, afraid that if she went home, if she tried to pretend everything was normal, she'd lose her mind. At least here, surrounded by equipment and data, she could pretend we were still in control. We weren't. 3 months after our initial detection, Nikolai stopped answering his phone. When I drove to his apartment to check on him, I found him sitting in the dark, surrounded by papers covered in strange diagrams, not impossible shapes or symbols, just simple circles, over and over again, each one encompassing everything before it. "It showed me," he said when he saw me. "When I was in the array chamber, it showed me what we escaped from. There was no space, Ron, no time, no individual thoughts or experiences, just one thing, thinking everything at once. And we were part of it. We were happy." "Nikolai, that's not happiness. That's oblivion." "Is there a difference?" He looked up at me with hollow eyes. "Every moment of consciousness is suffering. Every separation is pain. We've spent 13 billion years running from peace, and it's been chasing us the whole time because it loves us too much to let us go." I tried to get him to come back to the facility, to get help, but he refused. He said he was done running, that the universe had been fleeing for long enough, and maybe it was time to stop. I haven't seen him since. The project was officially shut down 4 months ago. Government officials came, looked at our data, looked at the worldwide reports of similar phenomena, and made the decision to pull the plug on all deep space listening projects. They said it was a budget issue, but I knew the truth. They were terrified. But it's too late. You can't unobserve something. You can't unknow what you've learned. The signal is everywhere now. Every radio telescope on Earth picks it up if you know how to listen. And more people are learning how to listen every day. Scientists, students, amateur astronomers, everyone who gets curious enough to point their equipment at the edge of the universe and ask what's beyond. And it answers. Every time it answers. Sharon had a breakdown last month. I found her in the shutdown control room, crying, her hands pressed against her temples. "I can hear it thinking," she kept saying. "Even without the equipment, I can hear it. It's so vast, Ron, so unimaginably vast, and it's getting closer." I got her help, real help this time, but I don't think it matters, because I can hear it too now, not with my ears, but with something deeper. In the spaces between my thoughts, I can feel it pressing in, patient, loving, inevitable. I've been reading about the expansion of the universe. Recent measurements show it's slowing down. Not by much, but enough that physicists are scrambling to explain it. They're calling it an anomaly, a measurement error, anything but what it really is. The universe is getting tired of running. I think about Nikolai sometimes, about what he said, about how every moment of individual consciousness is suffering, and how we used to be part of something that didn't know suffering because it didn't know separation. And I wonder if he was right, if maybe the thing beyond the universe isn't trying to harm us, if maybe it really does love us in a way that's so alien and absolute that it can't comprehend why we'd want to be apart from it. But I also know that kind of love is the same as death, because if we merge back into that vast, unified consciousness, we stop being us. We stop being anything individual at all. And even if that means the end of suffering, it also means the end of everything that makes us human. Last night, I was in my office when I felt it, a moment of thinness in the air, like reality had stretched too far and was about to tear. I stood there, frozen, as the pressure built around me. And for just a second, I could feel what Nikolai had felt, what was on the other side. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't angry that we'd run. It was just confused and hurt and desperately, urgently, completely certain that we belonged back with it, that our separation was wrong, unnatural, a mistake that needed to be corrected. And it was so much bigger than anything I could imagine. The entire universe, with all its galaxies and stars and endless space, was nothing compared to what waited outside. We were a drop of water that had separated from an ocean, and the ocean wanted us back. The moment passed, and reality snapped back into place. But I knew it would happen again. And again. The walls are getting thinner. I'm writing this because I need someone to understand what's coming. The universe was never meant to exist as a separate thing. The Big Bang wasn't the beginning of creation. It was a containment breach. Something broke free, and it's been running ever since. But there's nowhere left to run to. We've reached the edge. We've looked beyond it. And by looking, we've given it a way to reach back. Other facilities are reporting the same phenomena I experienced. Moments of thinness, brief contacts with what's outside. And each contact makes the next one easier. The membrane between our reality and what came before is wearing down. Sharon called me yesterday. She sounded calm, almost peaceful, which scared me more than her breakdown had. She said she'd finally understood what the signal was really saying, that it wasn't a message or a probe, it was a lullaby, something vast and old, singing its separated pieces back to sleep. It's going to happen soon, she said. I can feel it. The universe is tired, Ron. 13 billion years of running, and it's exhausted. Maybe we all are. I think she's right. I feel it too. The expansion is slowing. Dark energy, that force that's been driving us away from what we escaped, is weakening, like a runner who sprinted for so long that their legs are finally giving out. And on the other side, pressed against every point of our universe's boundary, something waits, patient, loving, inevitable. It's not knocking anymore. It's not pushing. It's just waiting for us to stop running, waiting for the moment when our universe finally exhausts itself and the membrane grows too thin to hold. I don't know how long we have, weeks, months, years, but I know it's coming. I can feel reality straining, like overstretched fabric about to give way. And in the quiet moments when I'm alone with my thoughts, I swear I can hear it. Not the signal we picked up with our equipment, but something underneath it. A whisper that's been there since the beginning, since before the beginning, calling us home. The universe asked, what was before the Big Bang? Something answered, and now it's coming to collect what's always been its. I'm sorry we ever looked. I'm sorry we ever asked. But most of all, I'm sorry because I know, deep down, that some part of me wants to stop running too. We all do.